Hi there again, and welcome to day one of our explosive sales training program. And let's get straight into it. So today I want to cover a really crucial area, in my opinion, something which is going to be fundamental to how you improve and how you increase your sales. So today's subject is going to cover a sales process. Now, without doubt, every business that we've built, every sales team that we've built, every sales reason has been built on a sales process. And the reason why a sales process is so fundamental, it lays a foundation for everything. It gives you visibility of where the holes are. It also gives you areas which you can improve on and you can influence to increase your sales. So what we're going to do is I want to put together a very, very basic sales process. And I'm going to give you a few examples of how this works. So let's say, for example, you've got A here, and we're going to go right the way across here to form B. Now, let's say, for example, for this exercise, that A, we've done our marketing here, and we're not going to go into marketing. You've done all your marketing, you've got your message right. Marketing is another huge area, but we're going to leave that for the time being. And we're just going to focus on A. And for this exercise, A is going to be leads. So you've got your marketing right, you've got your message right. Someone's made an inquiry on your website, someone's made an inquiry via email, they've phoned you, whatever the process is. So we're going to start from leads here. And for this exercise, what we're then going to do is move across, and B we're going to use as the bank for this exercise. And that is the most important area where the income comes in. So I want to know what everything that happens between when we have this lead in, what's going to happen to it, what's his journey, all the way to when the money hits our bank. Okay? Now, throughout this video, if there's parts of this video you're not sure about, obviously remember we've got our support button on our emails where you can get in touch with people and find out more details. Secondly, remember, you can pause these videos, you can go back, you can fast forward, however you want to do it. Just make sure you get the content. And again, you know, let's use that. That's because I want you to be able to implement this in your business quickly. So let's go from A. So let's just put a few boxes, and you know, forgive me, I'm going to make it very, very basic. In the last businesses that we had, if I was building a sales process, we'd probably fill this board, all this wall, to cover all the different areas. So this is a very, very basic sales process, but I want to use this first so you can go away and implement that in whatever business you've got, okay? And as I mentioned before, it doesn't matter whether your business is online, it doesn't matter whether you sell over the phone, whether you have a physical product, a service, you do consultancy, it doesn't matter. It's all about tailoring something like this so you know exactly what is happening, where it's happening, and then how and where the problems are and how and where you can influence to make your sales better and stronger and earn more money. Okay, so we've got our A to B, okay, and what happens here. So for this example, we're going to say that a lead is come through, an inquiry is going to come through on our website, okay. So we've set all that up, we've run the inquiry, and someone is interested in our services, someone is interested in the product that we are selling. The next point for this exercise is I'm going to assume that we actually have someone who phones out those leads, okay? So what happens then between this lead and us ringing out to respond to that lead? So in there, it's then going to add into another big part of the process because we want to know what's the time scale, what do they say, what's the process, how do we do it? Okay, now for this exercise, it may be that we've got the lead in, we then phone them and we then book an appointment. And if you can't see my writing, feel happy to zoom in. But we've got the appointment here, so we've booked an appointment. It's then what happens at this appointment. So is this appointment booked in within, say, 2 days? How quickly do we see them in terms of the time scale? And when are we going to see them during the week, for example? The next bit will be the presentation. So we're going to go out and do a presentation to them. What's going to be said? What's the structure of that presentation? What are we hoping to achieve? What's our goal? Is it to sell? So it might be that we're going to actually sell and make a case sold at that process at that point in time. It may be, for example, what's in the presentation, how long does the appointment last for. So in each of these boxes, there are probably another 20 things within each box that we need to know and we need to influence to make us very, very slick, to make sure we're covering everything. So at this point, I've then got a presentation. At this point, let's say we've sold, so let's be positive. So we've sold the case, we've got that bit of business. What then happens in our after sales? So where does it go from there? What's the time scale between us actually selling to the customer and they go into an after sales process? What is the process? How do we communicate with them? How long does it take to then go to the next stage, which is going to be we complete on the case, we complete on the business, we do our bit of consultancy, we sell our product, and then what's the time scale from here, the banking of the income from completion. So this is a very, very basic sales model, but it gives you an idea of all the stages, because in each one of these boxes that I've put on here, again, it probably splinters out into another 20 sections of all areas that we're going to focus on and we're going to try and get right. Because the more things that we get right, the more mistakes we're going to eliminate, and the more robust the sales process is, which means we're going to have less cancellations, we're going to have a better conversion rate, and we're going to be altogether more efficient as a business. So there's quite a lot of steps in there. Now the next thing I want you to do when you're looking through this is I want you to draw a line between the A and B, and I want you to put on here timeline. Okay? Because I want to know the timeline between when the lead comes in to when it banks in our account. And the reason I want to do that, so it might be 10 days, 20 days, it might be automated, so you sell a product online, instantaneous, it hits your bank account, fantastic. But we still have to communicate with that client, that customer. It might be 10 days, it might be 20 days, it might be 30 days. But the reason I want to know what that figure is because I then want to try and influence that. Because if, for example, this timeline took 34 days and I can influence this timeline, can make it 29 days, it means that I'm going to get paid in the same calendar month. That has a huge impact in your cash flow, in your business. So when I said at the start that it has such an impact, it lays a foundation, it influences so many parts of your business in terms of your income and also your entire structure. So we've got your timeline. The next thing I want you to do is I then want you to put in your communication. Now, a lot of mistakes that are made during a business, when a business is selling something, or during a sales processes, is at the start, here up in marketing, we are in their face. We're talking to them all the time. We're talking about our services. We're communicating with them a lot because we want their business. We then speak to them a bit about the lead. We book them in, etc. However that works. And then once we've sold to them, there's hardly any communication, and it goes from a lot to absolutely nothing, and that's when you will start to have huge problems. So I want you to think about how you are communicating and what's the customer journey right from A right over here to B, because we want the levels to be the same. So for example, if there is a hole in communication between you selling to the client and when they actually hear from you again, you're going to create doubt in their mind, and that leads to uncertainty. It leads to cancellations, and it leads to conversion rates going down, and it leads to a massive impact on your income and revenue. So I want you to think about how you are communicating from start to finish. Okay, so some quite basic principles in there, but the scenario is that once you start breaking this down, we can then do something else to these numbers. We can do something else. We can do something else to this structure, and that is attaching numbers to it. So, for example, we might say that I had 100 leads. Okay, I want to know the percentage it converts to in terms of over the phone. How many can we get hold of? Then it converts to how many we are converting to an actual appointment. Then I want to convert it to, out of those appointments, how many are we selling? Then I want to convert it to how many of those that we've sold are dropping off. Then I want to know what's the percentage between the after sales and it completing. And then that gives me an overall percentage here between this lead here coming in and then what the bankable income is here. Because once you start monetizing this and once you start putting numbers to this, we're going to start having a big knock-on effect and knowing our numbers in the business. And it gives us areas which means that we can start influencing those there. So for example, if I wanted to influence our conversion rates, I may look at it and say, right, okay, well, there's obviously that conversion rate has gone down here. So it was 40%, it's now gone down to 30%. But because I've got visibility of this, I know where the hole is. And therefore I can rectify it and fix it very, very quickly and find out what I can do about it. And similarly, once you start getting figures on here and you then monetize it in terms of our total income and what these leads are costing us, what we are then going to get is that we can then see how we can influence to make it better. So how we can increase revenue, because you've got a formula sitting there then, and it forms the basis of everything. So knowing your numbers, sales process, it all reverts back to this when you're sitting down at the end of the month and you're analysing how well you've done, but where you need to improve and what you need to perhaps focus on the month after. Yeah, so I'm going to give you an example, a really important example. So when we had our last business, okay, we were in direct sales. We were selling a lot of units of this certain type of product, okay, and in 1 month we sold 129 sales we made. Now, because we knew our numbers, yeah, the average sale of that 129 sales was £12,000. So that equated to almost £1.6 million of sales in that month. So that wasn't our best month, but believe me, that was a pretty impressive month, and we were all absolutely stoked with that, in all fairness. But we had a robust sales process in place. So we were all patting each other on the backs. We were all looking at, we'd done these 129 sales. We'd actually done our average calculation of what each sales costing, what income we're getting. And then we were working out that we'd made £1.6 million worth of sales, which is unbelievable. However, once we started investigating a bit more and we started breaking down the numbers, because this was already built, we then found that there was actually quite a big problem with this. Because between the presentation and between the after sales, we had a 15% cancellation rate. Now, in the bigger scale of things, 15% doesn't sound a lot, does it? But when you average out how many cases that is and what the income is to that, it's a huge number. So when we looked at the cases, that equaled 19 cases, but it actually equaled, I think, roughly about £230,000 of business that had cancelled that month. So if you take that away from our 129 and our 1.6 million, we'd still done very, very well that month. But look how much we'd worked for and left out there. So it told us there was actually a fundamental problem here in our presentation and the way we're selling, and here in our after sales process. But because we had visibility and because we'd already broken this down, it allowed us to know that there was a problem, but it also gave us time to fix it and fix it quickly. Because if we didn't know this and we didn't know these numbers, we would have gone along and maybe the next month we'd have done 129 sales again, or 130. We'd all be patting each other on the back saying we've done 1.6 million, 1.7 million of sales. Aren't we so wonderful? But if we'd have left that month on month, after 4 months, we'd have actually lost and left £1 million worth of business out there, which I'm sure you agree is a huge amount of money. So it doesn't matter whether your product's £12,000, £1,000, £100. When you start monetizing and putting numbers to a basic sales structure, you start getting visibility of where the problems are, what you need to fix, where you need to add things, and also where you can influence. Okay, so going back to this example, wonderful month. And we still done very well, don't get me wrong. So we weren't massively unhappy. But this 15%, these 19 cases, this £230,000 worth of income that we'd left out there, we wanted to know why. Because we'd done all the work for this and it just dropped off between these 2 points here. So what we did is, within a week, we rectified this. So we put a robust process in place where if someone rang in to cancel, we had a process in place that someone specifically would ring them. They had a script. There was areas that they had to cover. We also got, on a direct sales basis, that we booked them in for the consultant to go straight back out and visit the clients. We also looked at the presentation where we added some more parts to the presentation to do what was called consolidate that sale. And when we started identifying the reason why we were cancelling as well from the phone calls that we were making, it became pretty clear that actually this is quite an easy fix, because all it involved was actually the customer wasn't being communicated with properly. We weren't consolidating at the end of the call, i.e. Revisiting why they were buying. We weren't revisiting what happens next to them. We weren't checking their understanding of why they were buying. And these were all simple fixes. So within a week, we'd fix this. So we targeted the next month that we want our cancellation rate to say be 6%. So we were still expecting some kind of cancellation. It's gonna happen. But we targeted 6%, and the next month we hit it, because within a week we'd added more robust structure to the presentation. We'd added stuff in there. We had all the guys in. We trained them for a week. We also added some more communication in. So rather than them having to wait 2 days to get any communication from them, we set up a process that the same day as the sale, they had an email straight away from us with communication. The next day, we brought the after sales process forward. So the next day, they had a lovely welcome call from our after sales team. And basically, we filled in those holes. And all that meant is that we were more profitable immediately without having to go out and get extra business. So I think that's a really, really good example, because we've been through some of these pain barriers. But if we hadn't had this sales process there, we didn't know the ins and outs of the sales process, we would not have been able to identify a problem that large, and we certainly wouldn't have been able to rectify it in the time frame that we did. In addition to that, there was good news. So there was good news to all of this as well. So we fixed some problems, okay, and we fixed them quickly. But the other thing that we did is that we were able to identify in that month, what did we do that month that meant that we got 129 sales and we actually made £1.6 million worth of business. And it was because we'd strengthened, with training, the making of the appointment structure, and we'd strengthened how we were speaking to the leads, and we'd strengthened with training the type of leads and where we were getting them from. So we're getting them from multi-areas, website leads, calling on the phone, door to door. It was lots of different things, but we were able to break down again why this had worked so well. So this is another reason the sales process is so important, because it will allow you up here with your marketing to test what's working and what isn't, because it's going to go through an entire process and then give you a monetary figure and a percentage on, say, conversions of why it is working. So we were able to say, right, that's worked now. That's given us a template. So one, we're going to use this from now on because we've proved it works. Two, do you know what? We're going to try and influence it again. We're going to add more in there. We're going to give them more training. And that meant that the next month our sales went up a bit and up a bit again. And that's all what it's about. It's about influencing all these tiny little areas, because all these 1% as you go along your sales process is going to add up to more income, more sales conversions, and it's going to fundamentally change your business in terms of what you're earning out of it. So what I want you to do, and what I want you to, your task out of today's exercises is I want you to go away, I want you to get a whiteboard like I've done, or a bit of paper, and sit down, give yourself 20 minutes, and I want you to break down how you are actually selling at the moment. And as I said, don't cover too much about the marketing, because that is another huge area, and there's lots of areas and facets to that. I just want you to focus on, when you have a lead in, what happens between there and your bankable income. I also want you then to put in a basic structure as I have, put in a timeline and try and work that out. But this will also give you an exercise where you can start knowing your numbers a little clearer and then monetize it, because the figures don't lie. And once you start doing that, you'll be able to sit back objectively and you'll be able to look at it and say, actually, that area is really working, this area isn't working. Actually, I know exactly where the problem is, and this is why we're not selling the amount that we want to. And then you can put a plan together of how to fix it. And remember, it's just the first task. If you've gone through this and you're still not sure how to do it, or what you need to do, or how you can tailor it to your exact business, remember we've got our support link here. Get in touch with us, we'll help you. That's what we're there for. But I hope that's helped. Look out for day 2. So look out in your emails tomorrow, because you're going to get day 2 tomorrow, and I know that you're really going to like that because it's packed full of fantastic content in there. So look out for that. Go away and do your task for today. And what will probably happen is once you've completed this task, you're going to probably be quite energized by it, because you're going to have better visibility, you're going to know where the holes is, and you're going to know where to influence your sales. So get stuck in, and hope you've enjoyed that, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
Stop! Before you leave, we just wanted to give you a chance to test your sales processes.
So we've just had just been discussing between us what we could give you, and what we've decided to do is give you our mystery shop for a limited time, for limited numbers, and say keep it open for 3 days. So instead of paying the normal price of £297, you can grab it below for £97.
That sounds like a really good offer, Chris. Now, I'll tell you what, why don't we throw them something else in on top? That we're going to give you our referrals training course.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. It's normally retails at £197.
Okay, okay, so let me get this right then. We've got the mystery shopper, if I can spell it, mystery shopper at £297. Okay. We've got our, which one did you want to do?
We'll give you the referrals training course, really good. It adds on to what Stu's done on the training already, so I think you'll really enjoy that training course.
Okay, because that's a really good one, that one is. And 197, so that's looking pretty good. I'll tell you what, why don't we give them another one? Why don't we give them something that's really going to have an impact? Because this one's probably going to double their sales in 30 days anyway. So why don't we give them the websites that sell? Because that's a pretty good one as well, isn't it?
Okay.
So if we go with websites that sell, whatever you do, don't tell Stu. So we've got the websites that sell. So that all comes to £691. So we'll do all of that for yourselves at £97. So go to the link just below, which we've just created for you. And if you go on there now and take advantage of this, because there's a huge amount in there, which I'm sure is going to help your business.
And you won't be able to miss it. I'll put a great big pay button below. Jump on there. As soon as you put you clicked on the button and paid your £97, we'll give you instant access to those 2 training courses, and then we will follow on with your mystery shops. Please, bear with us. It's going to take 2 to 5 days for us to get back to you. We know a lot of people are going to jump on this offer, but I think that's pretty much.
Yeah,
I think we're finished.
And I think that one last thing is that I know that some of you have already been purchasing the mystery shop on the website.
Yeah, I nearly forgot.
Yeah, so what we'll do is, for anyone who's already purchased, I know there's quite a few of you out there already, we will honour this. So all you've got to do is just email our support email on the links that you've got there, and then we will reimburse you on this offer, and we'll stick to this for anyone who has it for the next 3 days.
Can't say fairer than that.
No, but we've really enjoyed the train. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, bye for now.
Okay.
Click on the link.